Hi guys, it's Laura from Day by Day in Our World, and today I just want to give you a glimpse inside of The Joy of Discovery, How to Teach with Unit Studies, a book written by Barbara Wagner. And this is actually, it also includes the learning objectives for kindergarten through grade 8. This is from Hewitt. Let's see here, Hewitt Homeschooling Resources. It's a reprint of an original study she did, and then, like I said, combining it with that. So everything is, three-pronged, which is nice. You can add pages to it. And this is really for somebody that wants to design their own unit study. They're not sure how to go about it. Or if you're just not, you want to make sure that you're including enough in there so that you don't, feel like we just had fun reading books about XYZ and that's all we did. And this really helps delve deep. So here, the first part of it is what she calls the I-cubed unit study. You have the individual component, inquiry, and then instruction. She goes into evaluations, what to expect, different ideas, rewards, and benefits. So, about 70-ish pages. And then she even includes a list here of, as you're going through, the different topics of interest that her boys had, what they were going to work on, and she tells you what page you can see this. So I do love the examples in here. And then she has reproducible forms. So lovely introduction. You get an image of the author and family there. Talking about, this I3 unit study, which I think many of us that have done unit studies in the past, we can maybe get an area of interest for the child, but maybe we didn't delve deep into that, defining that question, or we didn't really look at how to do thinking skills and what it is the kids are going to be doing. So it goes into the individual, and it does, she highlights where you are in the process, gives you ideas along the way. So here's an example, deciding on a topic. This was one that she picked for nutrition. And, what's the question? What is it they're going to be doing? And, what the learning objectives are. And sadly, I think that's where sometimes homeschoolers and regular brick and mortar school educators get lost, is that they feel like homeschoolers are not looking at this grand picture. She talks about making webs, and I have an image of this in the post, because they were talking about Pearl Harbor and digging into it. Then what I really like, there it is, finding the answers, the instruction. This is a huge component. So Benjamin Bloom is known as really a foremost expert in learning. And this is a graph or a chart that she's done showing the different thinking skills and illustrative behaviors. And if all we do is stick at knowledge, or maybe knowledge into comprehension, we're missing so much here. So if we're trying to make sure that they're synthesizing, putting together parts to form a whole new, original, here's different behaviors that are happening in order to make that happen. So this section, and this is just another way of looking at it, this section really delves deep. Then she has, because sometimes it's easy to get in a rut. We're very comfortable with asking kids to do a certain thing, or maybe the kids are very comfortable in doing a certain activity, but we really want to have components across the board. So we have the different questions we're going to ask for a unit study. We have different skill levels we're trying to get, and different modes for delivery. So, you don't want to always say the question of who is going to be a knowledge base and we're going to write it. You want to mix it up. And this is where she has the dial a unit. And I haven't put mine together yet. We're expecting to move soon, so I just am minimizing as much as I can. But this shows you the assembly instructions. You have this dial a unit. You have the little topic here that you put, and then you're going to basically spin. And once you've done that, so here we got the instructions, you spin the middle dial, it tells you the thinking skill. Then you spin the outside dial for projects, it tells you that. So if Olympics was the top, here we go, Olympics was the topic, the question is, what is it like to be an Olympic skier? Say you dialed and you were told that you're going to do examine and you're going to interview. So in this case, you could examine Olympic skiing in an interview. So the child would have to go and interview somebody talking about Olympic skiing. And this is just reproducible. The other one's on cardstock that came in it. And then it goes on to planning. She has a form that you can reproduce. Choosing your project, stating your assignment, making your plan. I mean, really, it takes a little bit of time, but in the end, it's going to be great. Now the back, and they show a snippet of here, the learning objectives. Okay, so you want to go and look at learning objectives to help you. And it just kind of keeps walking you through the process, different character days. I cannot say enough good things about this book for someone that wants to get into developing their own unit studies, but you feel like you need some structure. This is really going to help you with getting that structure in place, and the more you do it, the easier it's going to be. Here you can see there's an evaluation form, an example of how to do your record keeping, a log, so you can say on this date, this is what we were doing. And there's just even more into here. And this is part of what I love is she's really focused on using this opportunity to strengthen and build those relationships as well. But you have to keep in mind your child's personality, your personality. And then back here we have those reproducible forms and charts. Another one of those thinking skills. Different ways you can do the projects based on delivery mode. And, you know, your kid might love the drama, but don't let him only do that. Maybe he has to lead a group, or he has to show you, teach you on something. And then she's got a little glossary in case there's anything you're not quite sure about for definitions. So that's the first half. That's the joy of learning. Then we go to these learning objectives, and I'm not going to show all the pages because that would take a little while, but this is to help you know what they should do. And here's a key right here. This is what the student should study, or what they should be expected to do by the end of the year for that grade level. So this is looking at what educators consistently are saying a child should be able to do to have said, I've completed this grade. So let's jump ahead. I don't have kindergartners. I have a rising fourth grader, but we'll look at third grade because that's what he just finished. So can they participate in small group discussions? Can they answer with details? Distinguish between statements and explanations? Orally assign tasks independently? Arrange and order 5 specific events? Recognize alliteration? Listen with designated purpose? A few of these I know without a doubt I could check off. A couple of them I'm like, is just a discussion with mom or with his brother good for a small group, or do I need to have it be more people? You know, what can he do for reading? And then it goes into literature, library study, thinking skills, composition and creative writing, capitalization, punctuation. So there's plenty of grammar stuff in here, what's expecting, what they should be doing for spelling. And this, unfortunately, I can say without a doubt, no, we're having a serious issue with penmanship in our house. Math, strategy for solving problems. Can they work through all of this? For number systems, operations, and arithmetic. We're using Math-UC this year, so we haven't hit division, we're still in gamma. So I'm not worried about him meeting that because we're going off schedule. But it gives you an idea. Say if I were to put him into school for fourth grade, I would probably be spending time this summer going through each of these saying, okay, can he do all of this? Science and health. You know, we have been doing some of this in our studies, but these are the things that typically are covered in third grade. History and geography. What about with maps? Can he, identify stuff in maps? So it goes in detail, and it goes through 5th grade. Then when we get to the back here after 8th grade, I'm feeling like I should have put little things. This next section is for art, music, and character development all the way through, and it's because they don't need individual pages. So art objectives for grade 3, are these things that he can do. He doesn't know who Grandma Moses is. He doesn't know Joseph Stella. So these are, different artists that kids are getting introduced to, and you can even go back and see, hey, if we haven't done a study of artists, let's look at everything, that are considered well-known artists that he should know. Music objectives, this is not, necessarily by grade level, but by what they're able to do. So pre-music activities, beginning level, what are some different things that they should know? And then as you get to more intermediate and advanced for that. So it's stuff that could take you beyond the 8 years. And then character development, this is something that I find sometimes is easy to forget about keeping it in mind when you're planning studies. But being to really emphasize character development is wonderful. And they have it broken into stages. So, if they're not able to do all of this, if they don't don't have this comprehension, you'd start here at stage 1. But if you could say, oh yes, my child knows and does all this, then you look at stage 2 and then stage 3. So she has honesty, self-discipline, attitudes, creativity, conduct, and then she goes into manners. This is something else that seems to have kind of fallen by the wayside in society, table manners. You would think it's all basic, but you're lucky if you go eat with somebody and they can do all the stage 1s. One that my boys particularly had issues with are people speaking with food in their mouth and showing you what they're eating. It's something they don't personally do, and they find it offensive with others. But then it goes into really more in depth. And I would say some of the stuff in stage 2, my boys and I have not fully covered. Most of them we have. And then just general manners. How are you interacting with people? When do you need to be, having certain actions? How to avoid unpleasant conversations? How to act if somebody's giving you a party in your honor? Different ways that you're expected to act in public places. Another one that the boys were shocked when we went to the movie theater recently, and now the trend is to have recliners, and they found this young boy, well, not too young, he was probably 8 or 9, had decided bare feet all over the recliner was acceptable, and his mom had no problem with that. So anyways, that's a look at Inside the Joy of Discovery. There's so much in here. I have written some unit studies in the past, and I'll be honest, I did it more with the idea of here's a book that we're going to study and trying to get all the different components, but I didn't necessarily go to one of the children and say, hey, let's, read Nim's Island, or let's do this. It was something I just came up with. So with this, it's a slightly different focus, making sure your child's interests are taken into consideration. Thanks for watching this rather long video about the joy of discovery, teaching with unit studies, and also learning objectives for kindergarten through grade 8 from Hewitt Homeschooling Resources. This has been Laura from Day by Day in Our World.